Let us start with this. We are talking about biodiversity. What is biodiversity? The various species that you see, the diversity that exists in our planets, that is in our earth, that could be considered as biodiversity. That is the varieties of life that you see on the earth, okay, at different level, at different ecosystem. That is biodiversity. Basically, if we talk about biodiversity, it also talks about the various complex varieties of species which exist in air, which exist in water, which exist in land. They all are a part of biodiversity. No doubt they can be also said as ecosystem when they interact with each other. But when you see the minute detailing of each and every minute detailing, then in that case you come to know that they are a part of biodiversity. Now let us learn about the various types of biodiversity. When I talk about the various types of biodiversity, see, it is species diversity, it is ecosystem biodiversity, it is genetic biodiversity. When I talk about species biodiversity, I am talking about plants. Even in plants you have different types of plants. In grassland area, in cold region, in desert region, they are different. Even animals that you see on air, water, land are different. So this biodiversity, this difference is known as species biodiversity. Then ecosystem biodiversity, as we have learned in our earlier video, wherein ecosystem can be divided into various different types. It can be terrestrial ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem, urban ecosystem, agro ecosystem, freshwater ecosystem, marine ecosystem. So in different ecosystem there exists different relationship between species, between different species. So basically we can also we can also tell them that they are a part of different ecosystems. So they are divided or differentiated on the way of ecosystem biodiversity, that is ecosystem diversity, genetic diversity. See, even animals, for example, we all human beings are social animals. We feel like all human beings are same, but that is how not the nature has created us from within. Though we all are human beings, we have two legs, we have two hands. However, the genetic combinations that we have for Indians, for any other countries would be different. People from Japan, people from America, people from different countries will have a different genetic composition. Okay, that is what makes us different. Okay, this is nothing but genetic diversity. In fact, my genes and your genes is different. So we are a part of genetic diversity. All this combination of diversity is nothing but biodiversity. Okay, why it is important? Biodiversity. Why there is a need to conserve, reserve each and every type of biodiversity? Because more or less we all are interdependent on each other. Okay, so first of all, ecosystem service, they all are a part of ecosystem. In order to make them, in order to have a healthy and smoothful life, okay, we need to conserve ecosystem. So ecosystem service is important because we are dependent on various reasons with each other for the well-being of the human being, in order to have a healthy, as I said, for the well-being, in order to get medicine, in order to get food, in order to get all sort of things which are required in order to survive. That is why we need biodiversity. It has economic value. The quantum of food or minerals or resources that we get from aquatic place, from terrestrial ecosystem, this all has certain monetary value, and that is why the importance of this becomes more valuable in terms of conserving them as a part of biodiversity. And also genetic biodiversity is nothing but a genetic resources. Now, one of the importance of biodiversity is when we learn about genetic biodiversity, we come to know that we all species are different. Every species have a different features, qualities, advantages, disadvantages. Conserving may be useful for us in order to get solution for various health problems that a different genetic species may have. Okay, so this is nothing but the importance of biodiversity. Now, what are the possible threats of biodiversity? Well, we human beings are the threats basically. We human beings try to acquire a particular place and try to build our habitat. As a result, what happens here? As a result, it creates a threat. It endangers the species which exist locally there. So let us try to understand what are the possible threats, what are the possible problems, what are the possible challenges to biodiversity. Well, habitat loss and fragmentation. When we try to acquire a particular habitat, when we try to acquire a particular place, it creates a problem or the disaster for the local species. So basically it leads to habitat loss or fragmentation, that is different way of structure that we observe here. For example, we reside in a specific place. Now presume 1000 years ago this was a place which was covered with grass, which was covered with trees, which was covered with water. The type of species which was existing at that point of time here and the type of species which are existing at this point of time now, are they same? The answer for this question is no, they are different. So what about those old traditional species? They have been lost or they have been changed. So that is habitat loss and fragmentation. Another threat to biodiversity is pollution. We in the name of growth, we in the name of development, trying to build, construct a lot of things in the name of, with the help of technology. However, it is creating pollution wherein the many species which are very sensitive, they may not withstand with the quantum of pollution which has been created. As a result, they may lose their lives. So another threat to biodiversity is pollution, climate change. We are expecting unwanted heat during summer and unwanted cold during winter, which was never expected or which was never felt earlier. Why? Because of the change in the biodiversity, because of the change in the ecosystem. So this is another threat. So if there is a change in the temperature, the composition of species which reside in the specific geographical area would also change, which will actually endanger the biodiversity of that particular local area. Okay, that is climate change. Over-exploitation. We human beings trying to exploit a lot of minerals, a lot of resources. While doing so, what we are doing is we are endangering the species and we are shortening the life. Okay, so this is another problem or the threats for biodiversity. Okay, now there are also a couple of points that we may go through. Let's quickly talk about what are the various ways to conserve this biodiversity. Is there any way to save biodiversity? Is there any way to preserve biodiversity? Yes, protect that specific area wherein the human activity is endangering the species. Protect that area, cordon off that area. Don't allow human beings to do further activities there in order to conserve, establish and maintain and protect. For example, we have national parks, we have reserves, we have wildlife sanctuaries wherein the human beings are restricted to have that human settlement, which will help to increase or save those endangered species. Sustainable resource management, if we wish to conserve the species, then in that case we can use those resources which doesn't harm the environment. We can utilize resources, we can reuse the resources which will help to conserve biodiversity. We can educate the people, we can educate the youth, we can create awareness among the youth that how our activities directly or indirectly endangering those species, which should not be the case. We should have international cooperation, we should have joint efforts, not an effort of a specific city, not an effort of a specific state, not an effort of a country, but a globe together. When different countries come together, take some positive and reactive actions that will help in order to conserve the biodiversity. Okay. and a proper research should be conducted and monitored so that biodiversity can be conserved and preserved for a longer period of time. Thank you all. Bye for now.